Adding a new hire to the PlanSource system is actually a pretty simple and straightforward process. What we're going to want to do is from here, from the home screen, or depending on where you are in the system, you can click on this employee management link here. We'll want to go into the employee management, and we're going to want to select this add new hire link here. Now, the add new hire process, like I said, is pretty simple and straightforward. All we're pretty much doing is filling in these fields in the top there and hitting save at the bottom, and then we're good to go. A few notes on some of the fields in this system here. Any field that is marked with a star or an asterisk is a required field. With the password, it can be pretty much anything that you want it to be. Just keep in mind that that will need to be communicated to the employee. Now, you'll notice that there is no field in here for a username for the employee, and that's because the username is going to be automatically generated by the PlanSource system based on the employee's first initial of their first name, the first 6 letters of their last name, and the last 4 of their social. Again, that's going to be first initial of their first name, first 6 letters of their last name, and the last 4 of their social. Now, if the employee only has 6 or less letters in their last name, then it's just going to be that first initial, then their entire last name and their social. So then, as we go through here, these fields here are pretty self-explanatory. We've got the first name, last name, address, city, state, zip. And then once we get to the bottom middle of the screen, right around here, is where we're really starting to going to see some differentiation between what you're seeing here in this video and what you're actually going to be seeing when you're entering these yourselves. You may have different divisions and just kind of these generic descriptors. You may also have different locations or things like that, or departments that may be specific for your particular company. Just fill in those fields as needed. Additionally, the same thing with employment level, where there's just we have F&P for full and part-time. And then in addition to a benefit salary link, you may also have a current salary field. And the difference between the two is that the benefits salary, that's going to be the number which is the basis for the life or disability plans and is based on the W-2 salary of the employee's previous year. Now, this number stays constant and would only change at the end of the plan year, whereas the current salary field, that can be changed as needed as an employee gets promoted, demoted, what have you. You may also have different payroll schedules other than semi-monthly. You may have bi-weekly for 26 pays or something to that effect as well. And then you have the hire date and the eligibility period start date. Now, the hire date, that's pretty self-explanatory. That's just the date in which they were hired. But the eligibility period start date, that's going to be the date where the system starts the calculation for the waiting period. It is not the end of the waiting period where the benefits start. The waiting period is actually going to be already built into the system on the back end during the setup of your company. So that's not anything that you have to worry about or try to compensate for. All you're pretty much doing is plug in that date for the eligibility period start date, and the system is going to take care of the rest. Now, the hire date and the eligibility period start date, 95% of the time, are going to be the exact same date. An example of when they wouldn't be the same date is, let's say there is a part-time employee that you're putting into the system, and at a later date you promote them to a full-time position. Well, in that case, the hire date would just be the date in which they were originally hired as a part-time employee, and the eligibility period start date is going to be that effective date for when that promotion occurred to where they're benefits eligible now. And if you do have that situation where you're putting in a part-time employee, just put in the same date for the eligibility period start date as you would for the hire date. There are other controls and things like that in effect with the PlanSource system that will prevent the employee from being eligible to enroll into those benefits just being in that part-time or non-benefits eligible position. And then if you have a need to create any sort of test employees to just kind of familiarize yourself with the system or anything like that, you can select the test employee checkbox there, and you would be all set. So once you have all that information entered in, you just hit save, and your new hire would now be able to be searched and entered into the system.